Last year during the academic awards ceremony, after Ms. Garrett had given out her kudos to the previous senior class, she said, and I quote, "I'm going to give Taylor O'Hare a run for his money." At the time, I said, "Bring it on. Show me what you got, Ms. Garrett." That was really stupid. After completing Oedipus Rex in 3 days and having a test on our last day of class, which is the evilest thing I could even think of, I admitted, "Ms. Garrett, you win." When talking to my classmates about my speech, I consistently received two main guidelines: make it brief and make it light. I agree on brevity. After all, long speeches are boring, and ain't nobody got time for that. Ms. Garrett also taught me grammar. Especially when ancient seniors, including myself, are waiting to receive their diplomas. But when I look upon the world today, I find a sobering scene with very little humor to be found. Tonight I want to take a look back at history, our history, the class of 2013. Do you realize our beginning and our ending is bookended in irony? During the first 6 weeks of our first grade year was 9/11, when two hijackers flew into the Twin Towers. Now in the last 6 weeks of our senior year, two brothers from Chechnya have detonated explosives at the Boston Marathon. As Ms. Garrett would say, this is an interesting juxtaposition. Our world is getting older, but not any better. Class of 2013, our time to be salt and light is running out. While we were keeping up with red sweaters in elementary school, the secular humanists were successfully removing all traces of God from the public sphere. While we were playing powder puff volleyball and football, the Obamacare bill was passed, forcing employers, regardless of their religious beliefs, to provide birth control to their employees, including the abortive morning after pill. While we thought the most important thing in the world was a state basketball tournament, Congress mortgaged our future with $16 trillion in debt. While we enjoyed Sadie Hawkins dances and proms, the Iranian government advanced its nuclear capabilities, preparing to destroy Israel. We're next on their list. While we were sweating bullets over Ms. Garrett's Hamlet tests and soliloquies, the horrific Gosnell trial unfolded, and society's only response to abortion was that abortion clinics needed to meet health regulations. While we were nearly overcome with senioritis, the gay marriage debate was brought before the Supreme Court. We will hear their decision in June. This is the world we inherit. Class of 2013, our time to be salt and light is running out. These issues shouldn't be the cares of college-bound seniors. We didn't pick them, but we're forced to deal with them. If we are a typical graduating class spending the next years in self-centered fun, we won't have a future. Like Tom Brokaw's Greatest Generation who faced the Second World War, we have to grow up quickly, but with a difference. While they faced enemies from without, our enemies come from within. We are not struggling with the Nazis or the Axis powers in physical warfare, but in spiritual warfare against secular humanism, cosmic humanism, Marxism, postmodernism, and Islam. In 1 Corinthians 13:11, Paul says, "When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." It is time for us to do the same, because our time to be salt and light is running out. Joyce Heron, the founder of Trinity Christian Schools, had a vision for the future. God showed her that out of Trinity would come a remnant of believers undefiled by the world who would go out and champion the gospel, being strong leaders in a perverse society. My question for us tonight, class of 2013, is, are we that class? Our circumstances are bleak, but that great cloud of witnesses that came before us stood against the same darkness. After Elijah defeated the prophets of Baal, he was hard-pressed by Jezebel. Seeming like he was the only true follower left, he was discouraged to the point of depression and even suicide. But God provided all he needed, even the ravens, to help him persevere. When we must stand alone in front of secular professors who hate our faith, are we that class? Martin Luther was overwhelmed with threats of imprisonment and death from the Pope, but was faithful to begin the Protestant Reformation. As we see the first manifestations of strong persecution in the United States, as the IRS targets Christian organizations, are we that class? William Wilberforce struggled against the tradition of his country, successfully leading the movement to abolish slavery in England. As we realize the gravity of human trafficking in our own world, and have a chance to impact the issue. Are we that class? Winston Churchill blocked the tsunami of Hitler's Luftwaffe, defying the odds and emerging in victory. As our country declines and we must stand and fight against terrorist jihad, are we that class? Dietrich Bonhoeffer defied the evil of Nazi Germany and was true to the bitter end, martyred just months before Germany's defeat. If we are challenged to recant Christ or die, are we that class? As believers, we know that our world will continue to worsen, but we are called to take up the whole armor of God and withstand in the evil day, regardless of the outcome. For we know who holds our victory in the end. Our time at Trinity has prepared us for what we will face, especially this year under Ms. Garrett and Coach Neal. However, we must decide individually if we will put those tools to use. I would assume that very few graduating seniors have been given the worldview training that we have received. So if we don't stand for the truth, who will? All of us have amazing potential to be world changers wherever we go, so let us stare our world in the face and say, we will rock you. Let us stand for truth in the midst of falsehood. Let us champion the gospel in everything we do. Let us be that class. Though my time for tonight is running short, ours has just begun. Class of 2013, we are to be salt and light. Our time is running out.